Hi everybody, this is Ron, and today is February 20th of 2012, and we've got a post-modification report on a vehicle that I thought I'd just, first of all, this is a beautiful, beautiful little paint job on this thing. What is your name, sir?
My name's George.
George, would you tell us about your vehicle here?
Well, this is my little gem, my '86 Subaru GL10.
Mm-hmm.
Got a 4-cylinder turbo with a 5-speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4-wheel drive with a real transfer case. That's why I bought this car.
Uh-huh.
And that push-button viscous coupling nonsense. This is a real 4-wheel drive car.
Cool.
And it's just practically bulletproof. And
Okay.
I bought it because of the mileage that I would need to be able to save money to get through the recession,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is more like a depression, and be able to, get around all that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And because my grandkids live across the city, and I do a lot of outside sales work and whatnot. And I can haul all my detail stuff in it.
Right.
I've been detailing cars for 35 years, but
Uh-huh.
people can't afford such luxuries anymore. So now I've gone to outside sales work, and that, of course, requires a vehicle that'll get you mileage.
Right.
Well, I had cleaned some corrosion out of the injectors on the motor.
Uh-huh.
And in doing so, I had opened the electric gap on the injectors,
Right.
which created a stronger spark. And I had scraped off some kind of a plating from the factory that impeded the flow of electricity to maintain the mileage.
Right.
Well, I got an amazing amount of horsepower out of it, but I totally ruined my gas mileage.
Ah.
I used to get a combined average of 23 miles to the gallon with this, and I went down to 10 in town and 15 at best on the highway.
Uh-huh.
Now, since having Ron do the groove on my throttle body, in town it's just a little bit over 20, but always a solid 20 in town, and that's not sparing the horses either.
Uh-huh.
And on the highway, it's at least 30, if not more.
Wow.
And at one point, I did, right after the groove was done, the second day after the groove, I did a mileage test. It was 14 miles in town, driving it easy to not overtask the injectors.
Right.
And then did a 30-mile trip on the highway to the Scottsdale Air Park and back, and again, drove real tame and easy, but just above the speed limit, and I went 44 miles on just over a gallon of gas. A gallon and 1/3 of gas got me 44 miles.
Wow.
So that's well over.
That's 33 miles to the gallon. My math
Exactly,
serves me.
just over 30 combined. Whereas
Uh-huh.
the best I ever got before I messed with the injectors was 23. The
Uh-huh.
cars always run real well, but now with working with those injectors, I got a lot more horsepower, but sacrificed all my mileage.
Right. Right.
Now, when you did the groove modification of the throttle body, the turbocharger comes out much more smoothly. The power band is smooth and even. The car doesn't lurch when the turbo comes on. The turbo comes on sooner. There's less lag,
Uh-huh.
and the car just runs infinitely better,
Yeah.
smoother, and the power band is much more predictable, and the mileage is more than double, both in town and on the highway.
Wow, very cool. I've noticed a common complaint about the turbos is there's a bit of a lag when you go to step on it, and the one consistent thing is that lag seems. I never owned a turbo, so I really couldn't say. But so you say that is gone.
Exactly.
Wow.
With a turbo car, your turbo is activated by vacuum,
Mhm.
and when you, of course, step on the gas pedal, your vacuum drops. Your signal is weak, and your turbo takes its time about coming on.
Right.
Now, since the groove modification, the turbo comes on a lot sooner than it ever did, and a lot quicker and smoother too. There's no lag whatsoever on the turbo anymore. It's there for you every time you just so much as breathe on that pedal, because there's a light on the dashboard. It's the vacuum operated light that comes on
Right.
when your turbo comes on,
Uh-huh.
and there's no more waiting for the turbo. There's no more waiting for the horsepower to
Oh,
decide
sweet.
to come around. It's there. All you gotta do is just breathe against that gas pedal, and your light comes on, and you can feel yourself being pushed back in the seat because it really wants to go.
Wow,
No
cool.
more of this waiting business, because even Porsches have had the same issue forever.
Yeah.
And Porsche helped Subaru develop their
The turbos
turbo system.
sure did. Mhm.
Plus two, when the turbo comes on, the injectors go into a rich mode,
Uh-huh.
so that you're getting a little extra fuel to help not burn out the engine because of the heat from the turbo, wah.
Right.
And even Porsche still struggles with that today, whereas the newer Subarus that I can't afford to buy these days have overcome that issue,
Uh-huh.
but they've had to go through a big learning curve.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them to call Gadget Man? Yeah, well, very cool. So overall, would you say a little groove made a big difference?
Made a huge difference.
Oh,
a
sweet.
huge difference in the horsepower, and doubled my mileage. It doubled and then some.
Yeah.
The mileage, as well as improved the drivability.
You said 33 miles per gallon combined city highway, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Now look. Now you are actually kind of self-employed here at this time, right?
Right.
And I just want to show people what they do. Now I've done a lot of polishing work in my past, and I know what it takes to get to see a color in a paint job and a reflection. I want you guys to just look. Can you see the reflection in that paint? I believe you can, of my bumper there, of the back end of my Volkswagen bus that's sitting right here, showing on this paint.
This is not Subaru paint. This is Lexus paint at $200 a gallon, and Lexus Clear at $400 a gallon. And this was a $2,500 at a friend price paint job. And I traded out my wet sand and buff and detail services for a friend of mine has a body shop to do this paint job.
Well, it's that finishing that actually makes the difference. I mean, just look at the color and how clear that paint is. I mean, I got to say, this
paint job comes out like this. You have to make them look like this.
Yeah.
And that's the labor of spending a whole day with super fine sandpaper and soapy water, sand all the orange peel off, sand it flat as glass, and compound the shine, and then polish away the swirl marks, and then keep it waxed every month. And I've taken it to car shows.
Yeah.
I get a lot of comments and compliments.
I can see why.
About this. People ask me, is that original paint? Well, not in Arizona, it's not.
No, it's not.
Arizona has
5 years.
Yeah. This is, 20-some years old now.
All right, so George, if somebody's got a car that they think is a pride and joy, that they really want to take care of like this and get the finish up this good, could you help them?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right, so why don't you tell them your full name and give them a telephone number or something where they can reach you?
Yeah, my name is George McCutcheon. Everyone calls me George, the guy who waxes cars. My number at home is 480-720-8368, and I've been detailing cars for 35 years and doing the wet sand and buff, like what I did to this, for 25 years. And even if you don't have an exotic paint job, I can bring most any paint job back to life, as long as it's technically still alive. If it's dead and peeling, the clear's peeling, it's too far gone.
Right.
But if there's still paint there, and I've taken some real faded vehicles and brought them back real nice,
so you
just take care of them after that.
So you can help anybody's car look better then.
Oh yes.
All right, and I know you're reasonable. So guys, look, okay, you got George's information, there's phone number and stuff like that, and I'm sure that he wouldn't mind even if you called him and asked him about his mileage on the Subaru or how the groove worked for him to get any more additional questions. But you know what, guys, it's the attention to detail that makes all the difference. It's the same thing with the Gedgeman groove process. You do the groove, you do the vacuum system corrections, and you go to work. But it's the details that make the difference. And when you look at a paint job like this, I tell you what, you know it was done by a professional. And you know this is I plug people that deserve it, and this man right here does some absolutely amazing work. So, George, thank you very much. Have you got anything else to add or to tell everybody out there in Gadget Man land?
Maintain your vehicle. Take good care of it.
Yeah.
Always service your tranny. Don't argue with your service advisor when they tell you it's time to do a service. Otherwise, you get to replace the component for a lot more money. And then in this climate, you got to wax your car constantly because it's wax isn't wax anymore. It's certain kinds of oil with a little bit of paraffin to give you that hazy look when you're done.
Right.
You need to wax your vehicle with these new waxes just like you would oil a piece of furniture. And then too, when you did the groove, remember we found 2 vacuum leaks too.
Yes, we did.
That makes a big difference in the performance. So all the details, like you say, all these extra little things make a big difference.
Yeah, oil leaks and all that stuff too. I was kind of hoping you'd tell everybody to get their groove on, or go see Gadget Man, or come jump into Gadget Man Groove.
Well, a lot of people ask me about this car because it's so rare and unique.
Yeah.
These cars don't survive in this climate if
you
take care of them with the turbo. And so it gives me the opportunity to tell people that I just had this groove treatment done to my throttle body and give them one of your cars and tell them go check him out online.
So you're telling this to all your friends?
Oh yes.
So you must really believe it.
Strangers that I that I meet, because people are always coming up to me asking about my car.
Oh, sweet, sweet.
I've always had show cars, and this was just supposed to be my daily driver. But as circumstances worked out, I got a nice paint job on it. Was able to apply my trade to it.
Sweet.
And people come up to me all the time asking about it, and that gives me the opportunity to refer them to come and see Ron. And because we're both trying to build our businesses, and
yes, we are.
You build your business through referrals.
Yes, you do.
You advertise all you want, but
word of mouth.
That word of mouth and second party referral that makes the big difference.
Yeah, and God knows I love a customer with a big mouth. So, but on that note, George and I are going to sign off and let you guys get on over to GadgetManGroove.com. And remember, click on Get Grooved and we'll get the process started for you. And if you are handy, we can teach you now with the personal license program. So get a hold of me. I'll be sure to give you the best service that you've ever had. And on that note, I'll just say God bless y'all richly and warmly today, and remember to smile for a stranger today, because you will both be glad you did. Bye-bye now.